Greetings and welcome to your favorite podcast channel, Nigeria Unfiltered. Shalom Mufumerudu is my name, and I'm glad to be here again as we discuss another trending issue in Nigeria. I'd like to talk about an ongoing conversation that has, gained momentum. I saw a lot of persons posting, discussing as to, that the General of Ourselves, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, talking about Pastor Enoch Adejare Adeboye, in the last convention of the church, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, called for persons to support the ministry, donate and contribute to building, certain structures in the camp. Now, I've had different narration, different perspective and others. I personally don't want to dabble into that, but I just think it is needed I say something. First and foremost, according to Jean-Jacques Rousseau, man is born free. So, man is a free moral agent. If you look at the conversation where Pastor Adeboye was talking, he made some statements that were very specific. He addressed that he wants his children, those that calls him father, his children, to come and do that donation. So the question now is, I don't think that Nigeria, everything in this country will take it to the extreme. If you are not his children and you don't have the money, I think you should just focus. Anyone that decides to pay that money is doing it out of his own leading and volition. It is not something that we should discuss about. I've gone to different places of late, restaurants, communication and gatherings, and persons have told me that they've been talking that pastors are this. I'm not going to put my mouth in that conversation, but because I know that the Church of God has a lot of work to do, in terms of community mobilization, community development, and societal development. It's going to be a partnership. But I just want to talk on that idea of donation. The Bible is very clear. The thing now is that focus on what is really, really, really important. Our problem in this country, I believe, is holistic. But if we try to be specific, it starts with leadership. Everything lies and falls on leadership. We won't go and say it's followership. Never. I've never seen in a same climb where the followers will call the shots, where the follower will determine the pace. Anyone coming up with a narrative that our problem is fully followership is a big lie. Who controls the apparatus of the state? Who controls the monopoly? Who controls the security, the army, the navy? Who controls all this? Who calls the shots? Who has the yam and the knife? It is the leaders, the government. So how is it not possible that the followers are the problem? Is it not followers that don't have directions, that are following failed leadership? So our problem in Nigeria, we know it already. Our problem is not actually so encompassing. It starts from the micro level leadership. And that is where we can now fault followership, because as I'm speaking, anyone among the masses can become a leader. And if his idiosyncrasies is not in tandem to the ethics and principles of good governance, democracy, and welfareism, that person will become a new tyrant. Because we are complaining that the government is bad. Hey, there are a lot of criminals out there that will do times 2 of what the government is doing. I always have issues when I see people telling me that, okay, I have been in leadership before, I have served in government, and when I was there, things were okay. Oga, how come when you were there, you could not solve the problem? Is it now that you are no longer there that you want a fresh opportunity to solve the problem? I for one, I believe that we cannot keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. It is the foolishness at its peak. If you keep doing same thing and you are expecting different result, of course, it's foolishness at its peak. We want leadership change. Our leaders, most often than not, as soon as they assume offices, they lose touch with the people. Of course, during campaign and electioneering, they are close to the people. They are doing community services. During the last election, most state governors, they became ushers. Some of them became barbers. Community service, doing protocol. As soon as they won election, there's a big gap, a departure from the people. And this is what we will get when we keep deceiving ourselves. When we keep deceiving ourselves. Nigerians are wicked. When I say Nigerians, I mean Nigerians are wicked. They know what to do. They know what is good. They are the ones fighting it and coming to the public to pretend as if they are doing the right thing. If they give some persons opportunity to become leaders, they will kill everybody. Our leaders are still even trying. This was what I complain about now. Some persons, if you know them at a personal level, if you give them opportunity to rule, they will kill everybody. They are mafias and killers. They are just pretending in public, putting on mask that, we want a good government, we want government change. Criminals. There's a popular saying, I'm not here to speak politics, that sometimes the devil you know is better than the angels you don't know. How do you know? Anyone that can kill a man is not by carrying gun. Anyone that can kill someone by lies, false information, that person is a killer. A lot of criminals are in the system. And I fear to tell you that even in this struggle for revolution, many of these criminals have transformed themselves to be part of the process, to hijack the system. Nigerians, I don't mind being a lone voice in the wilderness, drawing and bringing up strong reasons why we need a change. If you know what is good and you are not doing it, you are one of the problems of this country. Many persons are saying that, government is bad. The question now is this: are you a good person? I laugh when I see myself among certain persons in meetings, in conferences, pretending as if they are the angels that want to come and save Nigeria. This country will, except God comes down, a lot of things will not change in Nigeria. Of course, we can get it better if we all agree right now that we want to change leadership. And this leadership change, I like to make it clear. It's not a function of age. It's not a function of tribe. Because a lot of problems surround this country. One of such problems is ethnicity. Another one is religion. We have seen good Muslims, bad Muslims and ugly Muslims. We have seen good Christians, bad Christians, and ugly Christians. We have seen good traditionalists, bad traditionalists, and ugly traditionalists. It's not a function of religion. We have criminals on the pulpit. A lot of criminals, wicked and stiff-necked, saying some things that are against the dogma of Christianity. And so it is with the Muslim. It's not about religion. So if Nigeria can, mobilize themselves as one, having one voice, a lot of things will change. This country, many things need to change. But I am still of the opinion that leadership takes 70% of our problem. The reason is not far-fetched. Nigeria is a country where you have weak citizens, fearful citizens, those that once you give them little scrum, they clean their mouth, because clean your mouth. So when a leader who has the will, the direction, and is ready to be transparent and accountable to the people, assumes office, half of our problem will be solved. It's not rocket science, the template is there. Okay, every ministry and department should make transparent policy and program that they will be accountable to the public. There should be a KPI every month. If there is a problem in governance, we will be able to identify the ministry that there is lapses. This shenanigans, back and forth about INEC reformation or thereabout. This country, someone was speaking with me the other day and was saying that Nigeria is a country that does not respect and value brain, the best brains. In fact, if you have opportunity to leave this country, leave. If you have all the opportunity to leave Nigeria, leave. Except the opportunity is not there. Do you know why? It will take the Almighty God to fully cleanse us and to fully correct us. Our heart is darkened. You see, even a little child, parents have taught that child how to be a criminal. Darkened heart. Persons are not minding, they're just there thinking of evil. A lot of things happening. This country, now wow. Okay, in the same time, okay, look at what is happening in this country. I've always said it. In a country where the class structure is not fairly distributed, there's a problem. We have too many poor people. Over 70% of Nigerians are poor. Over 70% of Nigerians are poor. A meager 10% are middle class. A meager 10% currently are middle class. A very few 1% are wealthy. How can there be a balance when it is the middle class that serves as the bridge in a developing or developed country? In this country, even the middle class are problematic. Any opportunity they have to grab, to squeeze, to block, they will do it. It is the country we call our own, where the best brains are not in. It is those that have big brains, big heads that are ruling. It is a country using people. This country, if you think about this country, you'll be like, wow. And these same leaders, they fail to realize that life is transient. Everyone has problem. Even the wealthy person has a problem. If it's not cancer of the breast for the lady, it is a cancer of something in your body. You have problem with it. Obesity, weak erection for men. Problem just yakpa. So you can see why you should be kind and considerate. A lot of criminals are there. Anyway, I am not one that you just come and tell me, okay, let's gather. I'm not that kind of person. You won't tell me let's gather. Gather where? We are complaining that we have bad leaders. The person that I am seeing coming that are around, except a very few of them, they are criminals. I have no nation. I'm a realist, a strong realist. If I know you are a wicked person and I'm working with you, you cannot use me to further suffer people. Like for example, I'm working with you, I'm a realist. You fail to do the needful. You fail to do what is needed. And you now want to still use me to further amass wealth. Never. I'm not that kind of person. And a country like Nigeria is not a good place to stay if you're that kind of person. Because the system will kill you. I am not against, capitalism. I'm a full capitalist and a socialist person. I'm in between. But I am not one of such that you will just use to count scores, to get what. I'm not. I am too exposed for that, with all humility. And I believe that respect and humility is a function of truth. You don't expect me to be twirling for you, to be, cutting for you when you are doing what is wrong. Everywhere I have been involved in an engagement, go and ask. I do things on fair ground, especially with the boss. I will not go against the boss. However, I am not one of such that, just come and just take orders to kill a fellow man. No. So this country, we really need a good structure. The people, when I mean the people, majority, there will never be a time where everybody will gather. Because idiosyncratic variation is true. Even amongst family, the wife is saying something, the husband is saying another thing, children are saying another thing in some cases. But if 50% of the masses are united to fight a common goal, a common fight, I see a lot of transformation. Look at the Arab Spring that started some 10, 15 years ago. It's just started by, one or two persons coming out, peaceful disobedience, non-violence, civil disobedience moving, and crowds started trooping. The only time Nigeria tried to be that united, amongst the people, there were divisions. We are complaining that it was the government that scattered that NSAS movement. That's a big lie. What they did, as usual, they planted persons. And some persons came for their selfish agenda. And that is my problem. When the people are moving, if there is one person that is doing the central leader, they can easily scatter that. But if everybody just gathers, start moving from your end, cause revolution. From your hand, cause revolution. Things will work. We're not fighting. We're not calling for an unrest. We're calling for a revolution that will bring about a dramatic change for good. Revolution is not necessarily about carrying of placards and guns. You give an instruction that is against humanity and with with humility, employees say, sir, why not do this? And when all options have been employed and there's no headway, he says, sir, I can't do it. You move to your left, I can't do it. I think that boss will begin to change. There's never going to be a perfect system because we're in a system that is imperfect. Even Karl Marx's communism, which is the end of class structure, has been criticized to be a utopia. It is only possible perhaps in heaven. As I ran up this conversation, I started with the call and the criticism about Pastor Diboye. I would like to end with a short analysis of Karl Marx. According to Karl Marx, in his treatise, the Communist Manifesto, written in around 1846 or so, Karl Marx highlighted stages of societal development, and I fear to say that those things he highlighted are still relevant today, except, of course, some adjustments. To Karl Marx, society started as a classless structure. Communism. There was no class. All of a sudden, some persons, of course, decided to hijack the system to become stronger, giving credence to Charles Darwin's theory of natural selection. That's how we now started having slaves and serfs. So, after communism, we moved to slavery. And I don't need to expand on what happened in the slave trade. A lot of us know how humans were dehumanized and treated as enemies, treated as beasts, treated as animals. And according to Karl Marx, society will develop because there will be a revolution, which he calls the antithesis. And that antithesis will now lead to a synthesis, a state of harmony. That means there's now a compromise between the rulers and the ruled. That will now move us to a feudal system. And in a feudal state, according to Marx, there will still exist two groups. The owners of the land, because feudalism is premised on land conquest and expansion. The owners of the land called the feudal lords. At a lower level, you have the vassals. Moving down, you have the fiefs. And of course, the serfs. The serfs are going to be working for the feudal lords. Mind you, the serfs are erstwhile slaves who owns nothing but are completely dependent on the Lord. Again, society will not be at rest, and there will be another revolution that will now move these feudal lords to now start owning properties, companies, empires, and that is what will now be called the capitalism. These are the stages. And of course, capitalism has come to stay. We are still having capitalism now and one of the strongest economic system in the world. And according to Karl Marx, capitalism is not the ideal system because it is premised on exploitation. The average capitalist is exploitative. Of course, he wants to grab all for himself. There's never going to be a time where workers will never win. If you are getting a payment of 50,000 naira, then sure you are working 2 or 3 million naira work at the minimum or thereabout in the same employment structure. So the two groups that will exist in a capitalist society will be the bourgeois and the proletariat. Of course, the bourgeois, these are the XY feudal lords who have hijacked the structure and built wealth. And of course, in a capitalist system, a pure capitalist system, morality is key. It's a function of the highest criminal or the highest rule. Hijack, build empire, and become a lord. Hijack, build empire, and be a demigod, where people will worship. So any man that that doesn't have a story to tell, or in the course of his conversation or his story or his trajectory, there's a pause. That person is not to be envied or at all. So I'm just trying to give a narration. So So according to Karl Marx, after capitalism, society will move to socialism, an economic system that is premised on the state owning resources. And of course, things will be done, based on, strength, population, needs, and thereabout. To Karl Marx, socialism is not the best thing, because socialism will also lead to some form of, revolution. Sometimes the state may not be for the people. The state structure may be hijacked by another group of persons who have made themselves rulers or leaders. So Karl Marx, society needs to move back to communism. Of course, these back and forth, society cannot actually be there. No sane society has gotten to that stage. Because as long as we are humans, one of the characteristics of living things is competition. Any human that is not competitive is a dead person, because competition is a characteristic feature of living things. Of course, that's that. So now, as I conclude, let me also talk about democracy. I'm not against democracy, but in a society where democracy has been hijacked or used as an instrument or tool to further exploit and put the people in perpetual poverty, that means that democracy needs to be checked. Democracy, no doubt, is premised on majority rule. Democracy has its bad side. If fools are the electorate, what happens? If criminals are electorate, what happens? They will end up voting a criminal, and that is the popular choice. So you see why this country will just need to sit down and have a conference, have a general consensus to decide what we really want. And when the government, not even when the people become ready, we will know. We will keep talking constructively, and we ensure that, and we pray that this message gets to the right quarter. Thank you very much. This is where I draw the curtain today. As I rant up, Chinua Lumogu Achebe, until the lion learns to tell his story, the hunter will keep taking the glory. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Bob Marley. James Baldwin. History is needed to chart a course for the now and in the future. Thank you very much. See you when next we see. See you at the top. Bye.